Well, there are signs of Christmas all around us. They are everywhere. And I want to ask you kids, great job with your song, by the way. Thank you for, Thank you for leading us. And you know, sometimes I sometimes feel like, when we put kids up front, there's always this temptation to, let's just put them up there so that everybody sees that we have kids and that something's going on. But I love the fact that we're very intentional about that. And kids, I love the fact that when you're up here, you really are leading us. And I can see the smiles on your faces, and I can see the worship that was really happening. Worship, sometimes kids, you can help us older people realize that we can smile when we worship. That we can clap when we worship, that worship should be enjoyable, not because we like the song, but because of who we are worshiping. How many of you this week went and saw family that you were wanting to see? You don't have to put your hands up, because then the ones that don't raise their hands, either have to say, I didn't go see family, or I didn't really want to see them, right? So I went and saw family this week, and it was an opportunity for me to reconnect with some of my siblings and in-laws and nephews, and I've got a couple of nephews who they are just excited to see everybody, and it's like there's hugs and there's hey, it lasts for about 30 seconds, then they're on their way doing something else. But worship should be that. It should be, we come into the presence of God and we go, God is here. Yeah, God is here. And it shouldn't depend on the song, and it shouldn't depend on how we feel and whether we're up to it or not. But God is in this place. So thank you, kids, for leading us for a portion of that this morning. And Bridget and Brooklyn, thank you for your prayers. What great words they shared. And not that we judge prayers, but thank you, girls, if you're still in here. Thank you for, oh, there you are. There you are. Hi. Thank you for leading us in prayer this morning. Well, the signs of Christmas are everywhere, and kids, if you would continue to help me just a little bit, tell me what is, so kids, kindergarten, 5th grade-ish, and then I'll get to the rest of you here in a little bit. What are some signs that you've seen recently that tell you that Christmas is on the way, that it's coming? Yeah, Naomi. There's a lot of lights. Yes, we're seeing lights. Yes, Eli. A lot of songs. Is that what you said? Yeah, all of a sudden we start hearing different songs, right? Yeah, the songs kind of change. Mason. What's that? Christmas trees. Yeah, you start seeing Christmas trees. Yeah, you walk in this morning and you go, oh, wait, that's a little bit different. Yes. Snow. Did anybody know that it's actually snowed a little bit this morning? Yes, yeah. That was kind of cool looking. All right, kind of neat looking. I was in here, so it was great. Yes. You have candy canes in your bags, and all the kids who didn't get bags yet go, whoa, what? You can go get one still if you want to. Not you, Parker. Yes, Chloe. Early Christmas presents? Where? Where are you getting these? I'm just kidding. Okay, so maybe you've already kind of started to get a few gifts. Yeah, Penny. Glitzy. Oh yeah, boxes. You start to see boxes that they're not just like cardboard boxes. They're decorated, right? They look, yeah. Boy, you've got multiple answers. Yeah, Luce. Advent? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we've kind of been building up to the Advent season. Yeah, those things all clue us in. They clue us in that something's coming, that something's different. And even though we know that this time comes every year, we start to see things that make us go, oh, wait, okay, something might be a little bit different. Teenagers, what do you see that clues you in that Christmas is coming? Don't be too cool here. Yeah. Unloading all the Christmas stuff. You mean like your family was decorating and you're like, oh no, we got to get all this stuff out. Yeah. Wrapped Christmas presents. Good. Marshall, what have you seen? Your Christmas tree. Your Christmas tree. Yes. Santa at the stores. Yes. Has anybody seen Santa at the stores yet? Yeah. Yeah, right back there. There's a Christmas filter on Snapchat. You won't believe this, but I was not aware of that. But yes, absolutely. Yeah. What else? Knowing what everyone else in her family got for Christmas and holding it over their heads, right? Or negotiating. You tell me, I'll tell you. You don't have to answer that, right? Yeah, there's signs everywhere. Adults, what signs do you see? Yeah. Losing your wife for 24 hours of Black Friday shopping. Yes, something's happening here. What it is ain't exactly, yes. Funds are lower. The bank account starts to go, oh, something's happening here, right? Yeah. Amazon packages start showing up. Yes, this is the time of year where I feel like every day we've got like two different vans or trucks pulling up, and it's like, what else did we order here? Yes, Darren. Christmas movie marathons, and that just got a rousing response. Anybody watched 10 or more Hallmark movies yet? Yikes. Already? Whew. Heather. All right, adults, what else? Yeah. Yes, emails of Christmas coupons and sales. Yeah, Jan. Christmas cards from friends and family are coming, which makes you go, oh no, I've got to get mine out, right? Yes. Yeah, Joanne. Okay, yeah, the advertising on TV has changed. Minda. All the Christmas sweets and baking, she says. Yeah. Oh, Ruby, yes. Christmas music, yeah. It's. You're not an adult. Do you have an adult answer? All right, let's hear it. All the children asking for what they want. Yes, Pastor Dunn. Walmart in August. Yes. Walmart, yeah. Cutting wood. Ooh, that sounds awesome, actually. That sounds great. Yeah, Dave. Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Yeah. Brenda. Thanksgiving. Yeah. Man, I need to do this every week. I've gotten more response out of this. Yeah. Yeah, the kids asking, is it Christmas yet? How long? And, all us adults go, it's only 24 days. And the kids are going, it's 24 days still? Yeah, Steve. Seniors stressing over finals. I'll take your word for that. Yeah. Okay, what? Huh? Magazines. Yeah, starting to look through the ads and through the magazines. That was my son, by the way. I can answer that way. What? What do you got? Yeah. All right, one more. I see your hand. The Christmas magazines. Yes, yes, yes. Well, the signs are everywhere. They really are. They're everywhere. There's Black Friday shopping. There's decorating for Christmas. There's Christmas music, Christmas movies, preparing to gather with family, Advent calendars, Amazon deliveries, giving and receiving of gifts. Well, during this holiday season, I can tell, like, you pay close attention, right? And we all do. We pay close attention, and we find ourselves paying attention to these clues. And I think we could have just gone on and on and on and on, and you would have kept coming up with things. So that tells me that we do pay attention. And our text today is in Matthew 24, and it is actually about paying attention. It's about waiting and watching and never losing focus on what we should have our eyes on, which is the return of Christ. Now, this doesn't feel like a very Christmassy passage here, but this is not a Christmas passage. This is an Advent passage. So if you would you stand with me and turn to Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to read verses 36 through 44. Here's what Jesus says. Jesus says, "But about that day or hour, no one knows. Not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. And that is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a handmill. One will be taken, the other left. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have let his house be broken into. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We forgot to mention that another sign that Christmas is coming is all the colds, right? All the coughing and hacking that you hear, right? No, don't apologize. Like, we get it. We get it. So like I said, this doesn't feel like a Christmas reading because it's not a Christmas reading. This isn't what I planned or expected to talk about on the first Sunday of Advent. I think, maybe we should come in here, we should talk about Christmas and presents and fun, and that Jesus is the true gift, and we'll get to all that. But the fact is, Advent is about more than the coming Christ. See, the word Advent means the arrival of something notable. Now, the coming Christ, the baby Jesus, this was huge. This was the long-awaited Messiah. This is what the people of Israel had been waiting for, this Messiah that was promised to them. And they waited in eager anticipation. And this was the arrival, this was the notable something that they had been waiting for. But see, Advent is about more than just the baby Jesus. It's about the eager anticipation and the hope found in the fact that Jesus is coming again. That Jesus is returning. Now, I wanted to bring light to a couple things over here. Because I want to make sure that we're taking advantage of all the opportunities that we have, especially since our kids are in here and our families are with us. There's a few different things that you've had an opportunity to take part in here during this Advent season. And if you don't have these, we'll see if we can get you some. But kids and families with kids, if you haven't picked up this book, this is a great thing to do together as a family during the Advent season. There's one story each week during Advent that you can go through together. Kids, in your engagement bags, there's a bookmark. It says hope on it. You can color that, fill that out. And then each story in this book actually comes with some coloring pages here. And I think those are in your bags too. But we have opportunities to engage as families during this Advent season. And the reason we do this is because it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to get distracted during this holiday season. And in this passage we read about, they're talking about the days of Noah. Jesus brings up this thing. This is what happened in the days of Noah. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. This is verse 37 and 38. For in the days before the flood, people were eating. Pretty normal thing to do, right? People were drinking. I do that every day. Pretty normal thing to do. They were marrying and giving in marriage up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. And then Jesus says, this is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. And so something we know about the story of Noah is it wasn't that people didn't know, right? Noah warned them that something was coming. He warned them. So Jesus says they didn't know. Jesus doesn't mean they were clueless, as in they had never been told. Jesus means they had been told, but they got distracted. They got distracted by simple things like eating and drinking and marrying and going on about their day as they normally would, in spite of the fact that they knew that impending doom was coming. And Jesus says, this is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. Whether you want to believe it or not, we know that Jesus is going to return. His word says that Jesus is going to return. And for some reason, we like to just go, okay. Sounds good. That sounds apocalyptic. Sounds a little out there. And since it's a little out there, just like Noah's warning, we oftentimes go, you know what, I would just kind of prefer to go on about my life as I normally would. Not only that, but I'd prefer to focus on the nice and neat things like the birth of baby Jesus here during the Advent season. I'd like to focus on the Christmas trees and the Christmas music. And I'd like to focus on just getting together with my family and preparing for that. And Jesus says, yeah, see, that's the cycle that we get into. We get distracted so easily. And they're not always bad things. Sometimes it's as simple as one little string of lights flashing on this tree. How many of you noticed that string of lights flashing on that tree? Right? Now be honest. How many of you are like, I can't look at it. If I look at it, I'm not going to be able to focus. Right? Yeah, especially you guys over there, like you can't miss it. You have to turn that way if you're going to miss it. That's a simple thing. That's a small thing. It doesn't quite fit. But many of you, instead of focusing on how beautiful this tree is and how beautiful this tree is, you're sitting there going, who did that? And why didn't they fix it? And And you're distracted. Your mind's going in other places. You're distracted. Now, I will say this. We know how to fix that. But I went, you know what, that'll fit perfect with what I'm talking about today. So let's fix it afterwards. In fact, the bulb is right there. We'll get it fixed, I promise. But that's how easily we get distracted. That's not a bad thing. That's not an evil thing. There's nothing inherently evil about that. But we get on this mindset where our mind is going in the right direction, and then something small, oftentimes something good, something not evil, can start to distract us. Anybody over here smell the chicken noodles, the turkey noodles over here? Anybody distracted by that? Because I am. Turkey and noodles aren't bad. They're going to be really good. But oftentimes good things can still be a distraction. So how do we keep from being distracted? See, distraction is you're on a track, okay? You're on one track, and then you somehow get bumped off, start going to something else, doing something else. So how can we remain focused this Advent season, especially on this hope that is found in Christ? I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. But first of all, we're going to remember, okay? We're going to remember our calling. We're going to remember who Jesus, who God calls us to be. Because you know what? God doesn't call us to be shoppers. Okay? Nothing wrong with shopping. But that's not our ultimate calling. Okay? God doesn't call us to be decorators. Nothing wrong with decorating the house, but that's not the ultimate calling. God doesn't call us to be good bakers and good meal preparers and good party planners and good organizers of our schedule and our calendar. Those are not bad things, but that's not ultimately who or what God calls us to be. He calls us to be His children who love and who share His love with others, living the life that He calls us to. See, those things that tend to distract us, that get us, did you ever notice the things that distract us are also the things that overwhelm us? They do. They overwhelm us. I'm telling you, there is nothing Satan would like more than to just simply distract us. It's his easiest weapon. Because it's the one we fall for the most. Because we think I'm doing good, I'm doing this is good, right? This is good, this isn't evil, this isn't, this is okay, right? And before we know it, we've gone days or moments or months without even considering, who has God called me to be? Resist distractions. That seems so simple. But it's very difficult. How many in here just tend to get distracted overall in life in general, right? That's me. I start one thing and it's fun, and then I go, oh, and there's this over here because that got a little bit boring because I've been doing it for a while. And I go over here and I da. Distraction is so easy. But we can resist the temptation to be distracted. It really is possible. And when we're distracted, it's possible because we can regain that focus. Anybody use binoculars recently? Okay, I haven't, but I know many of you are hunters and do that type of thing, or play golf or whatever, you're range finders. I used to have, my dad had this big old set of binoculars. And I remember I would look through those binoculars, but see, they had to be adjusted a certain way to my eyes. Because if I looked at them the way that they were fit for my dad's eyes, I'd just look through them and go, I can't see anything. These don't help. I can't focus here. But I had to do something to get them in place so that I could focus and see what I wanted to see. Oftentimes regaining focus from being distracted is simply going, wait a second. I've got to do something different here. I need to adjust my focus. Sometimes we wait on God to, I'll regain my focus when God does something really cool in my life, or when God does something really powerful in my life. And God's going, I'd love to do something powerful in your life, but I need you to focus. I need you to regain your focus and get off of the distractions. See, this text here, it is kind of a scary text. It's a little bit full of fear, and I think that's okay. A little bit of a healthy fear of God is a good thing. We see that all throughout Scripture. Fear helps us focus. When we fear something, our body kicks into action. Our mind kicks into action. And its natural response is to focus. So Advent is the new year in the church. This is a time just like the new year that we celebrate starting January 1st. The new year, it's a time for resolutions. It's a time for thinking about how we want things to improve. But what if we started our resolutions maybe a month earlier? Today's December 1st. What if we realized, Advent, that's really the new year. That's when the church calendar really starts. That's when the Christian calendar begins. And what if we could make some resolutions even today? What if we used Advent as a time for reflection and renewal? Instead of being caught up in the busyness and the I need to do that, and I need to take care of this, and I need to take care of that, what if we used it as a time for reflection and for renewal? Many of you picked up this devotional book, and I think we gave out 60 or 70 of these. This is a daily reading. It's an opportunity for you for just a few minutes to go, okay, hang on. I'm going to focus right here. I'm going to set aside some time to intentionally adjust my focus, adjust my responsibilities today for just a moment. What if it's as simple as just spending a couple minutes each morning going, God, what would you like me to focus on today? What would you like me to see today? See, this message really isn't one of fear. This passage isn't really about fear. It's about hope. Because the only reason we have to fear this is if we haven't placed our trust in Christ. Otherwise, it's a hopeful passage. Jesus is coming again. That's awesome. That's great. It shouldn't be full of fear. It's reason to celebrate. It's a message of hope. It's a hope that God keeps his promises, that Christ will return, and that if we stay the course, if we stay focused, if we are watchful and ready, we will see this hope fulfilled. So how might we be transformed by reducing distractions, simplifying things a little bit, and focusing on remembering the coming of Christ by anticipating his return? I'm convinced that this is important for us as individuals, but this is also important for the people around us. You may say, how do I, to not focus on the trees and the gifts and the food and the family and all these things, that'd be really difficult. I'm not saying don't do that. But it is difficult because that's the pattern. But what if the people around us need us to say, it's it's really Advent season, you know? In this passage of Scripture, Jesus says to keep watch. Keep watch. So in the Old Testament, these large cities used to have watchmen. Many of these cities were surrounded by these tall stone walls. And so the city would employ watchmen to stand up on top of the wall and keep watch. And they could see for miles around. But see, the people were inside the city. They couldn't see what was going on outside of the walls. And so those watchmen would stand up there and they would warn the city of impending attacks, or they would tell the city when there was good news coming, because the city couldn't see it. And they saw those watchmen and they said, "What's going on?" And the watchmen would have good news or they would have bad news. And Jesus says, keep watch. Just like a watchman, there are people in our lives who need us to say, there's good news. There's great news this Advent season. We celebrate the birth of Jesus, but we also celebrate that Jesus is coming again. Will we be the watchmen that those around us need?